Is it fair to say for some of these frontline workers now who are really, really being stretched at the moment, the power, the importance of getting these sort of little recovery periods? It isn't an 8-hour stint. It could just be these little 10-minute.
That's where it becomes really difficult, because these are extreme circumstances. And all I can reflect on is I have worked with some extreme sport and extreme challenges. And when you try to coach somebody who's doing something extreme, okay, it could be a single-handed round-the-world sailor who's going to be at sea for 3 months on their own, on a boat that's completely stripped out, and they can only even think about going off the deck and going below when there are so many factors in place, right? Weather, conditions, this, that, and everything. Because they're putting themselves in a very vulnerable position if they leave the deck, right? So the only way they can think is in a multiphasic sleep approach, which is not made up. It could be 6 times a day, right? 6 short periods in any 24 hours. So they would have to use that. So it'd be sort of like, for the sake of argument, like 26 minutes, 30 minutes tops, right? So they'd actually restrict it to that short period, but they'd try and do it maybe every 4, 5, 6 hours. No long blocks. There's no way they can be down there for hours, even an hour. It's too long. So you look at things like that. I've coached athletes who choose to do things like race across America on a mountain bike. And that means for 13 days, they are riding 24/7 through the night, through the day, to get to the other side of America within a certain time frame. So they're not racing each other per se, but they're trying to get there within a certain time frame. So they do not want to get off their bike. They do not want to sleep. They just want to keep riding all the time to be able to reach that goal. So the only way would be, at certain circumstances along that journey, we would take the opportunity for them to stop, hop off the bike, curl up on the floor, fetal position, genitals and heart protected, bang, 20, 30 minutes, no more. Don't even try and sleep. The brain will just do it for you if we pick the right moments. And as soon as that's happened, right, hydrate, fuel, bitter, back on the bike, and off you go, right? And to convince them that if they just keep riding through certain periods, then they won't make it, right? They'll get to a certain point in that journey when they won't be able to do it. So it's a little bit tortoise and hare type of analogy, for those old enough to understand that. But it's sort of, there's no point racing like mad because you won't get to the end of it, right? It's more like a more balanced approach, and you'll be there in the end.
Yeah.
So that's what single-handed round-the-world sailors have to do. They have to manage, because it's probably likely to be in the back end of that thing, just like in a football match. Most games are won in extra time. Mm-hmm. It's always the back end of a human performance thing where things get revealed, mistakes get made. So all I could only offer, and which I have been doing with frontline services over the last, but not because of COVID, because they were challenged anyway.
Yeah.
And when you looked at that process, the only way you can try to help them is try to think of their 24 hours and to think how they can reveal enough recovery, these little short, tiny minute, 2-minute breaks. So it's kind of like, where would you normally go and do that break under normal circumstances? Well, I go into the canteen, eat a sandwich, take a quick drink. I've got a 5-minute break before I got to go. Yeah, okay. Could we just do that by the window?
Yeah.
Is there any way you could step outside? Is there any way you could do it somewhere else? Because you're not trying to sleep. I'm just trying to ensure that your brain's getting some level of different visualization, because you're looking at hectic stuff. People are dying. Just look at something else for 2 minutes while you're eating your sandwich. That'll really help. You can't nap. You can't go off the ward and do 30 minutes and fall asleep and stuff like that. But every opportunity that might arise where you might be able to grab 10 or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, then just go somewhere, put the headphones, or whatever it is, shove a towel over your head, whatever it is, in a safe, protected place, and just let it happen if it can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're off shifts, and you maybe got a short space of time before you've got to go back and do it again, and your main thing is, right, well, I've just got to get home, got to eat, got to do that, I've got to get to bed and get some sleep because I've got to get back here tomorrow. Just try and take that mindset away and just like, yeah, I'm going to go home, but I'm going to cook some nice food, from scratch. I'm going to have a bit of social experience. I'm going to have a bit of downtime. I'm going to listen to some music, but I'm going to just sleep for a shorter period of time. I know I feel tired, but I know that this is just going to add up and be counterproductive if I keep following this pressurized time. It's not going to change. It's only going to probably get worse. We're going to be put even under more pressure. So I need to balance this approach and probably try to think of my sleep about mental and physical recovery periods, shorter periods more often, grab them when you can, use it when you can, and don't try to force yourself to do long periods of sleep when you're away, because that'll actually probably create more fatigue.
Right, okay, that's
Right?
interesting.
You're just trying to change the thing for a bit, right?
Yeah.
And just be a little bit, the more you less worry about it, the more you keep other things in place. This whole mindset of working like mad, stressful circumstances, lots of pressures, anxiety, you name it, long hours, bang, 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 bang. And then to try and deal with that, you're thinking about sleeping for as long as you possibly can before you come back and do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that most of these people, and I have been speaking to them, is that when they do that, they feel absolutely knackered. Right. And so they don't come back to work feeling fully refreshed. It's just a continued process of more fatigue, more stress, more feeling knackered, not feeling recovered. And it's only when you're able to sort of take them out that mindset camp and go, this is a period of time like an extreme sport. So for the next 3 months, you got to think, you've got to grab your little bits of recovery in little short spaces here, there, and everywhere. It's not about napping per se in this, and you've got to think shorter periods more often is going to keep your brain and you in a little bit more balanced recovery approach. It's not the highs and the lows, right?
Yeah.
And when the job is to get to the end of this.
Yeah.
We don't want you crashing and burning in a few weeks' time, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole objective is for everybody to be doing their jobs and keeping healthy and keeping safe. And that's the same for everybody. So think polyphasically, multiphasically. I think the only nice thing about it is actually you can very, very quickly switch onto this. It doesn't take weeks. It's literally, if you just decide, that's what's happened over the last few days, right? I went to work then and I worked for 12 hours, right? On Tuesday, I did the same. Then I worked for 16 hours. On Friday, it was like this. They just have a little quick reflection on what's gone on over the last few days. And then you can very, very quickly spot where your little micro recovery moments would have been. On the bus going home, in the car going there, that little break that happened there, or, oh, hang on a minute, I was on that ward and there is a window, right? Okay. So suddenly, very quickly, just in a matter of minutes, that's what those 3 or 4 days look like. It's likely to be the same over the next 3 or 4 days. So instead of wandering into this like that, I'm going to wander into it like this now. So that's the nice thing about it.
Yeah, I guess it's the small, even if it's a smaller gain, it's a positive gain over not doing anything about it, isn't it? That's the key about it.